Becoming a Better Writer, Readability Checks. Today I'm going to show you how to use one of the tools in Microsoft Word to examine the stories you write. This tool checks the readability of your story. Readability examines how easy it is for someone else to read your story. The readability scores show you things like how many words you wrote, how many sentences are in your story, and the reading grade level that would be able to understand what you wrote. The better writer that you become, the more educated a person needs to be to understand what you write. For example, when you are a beginner writer, use the word hot to explain a warm day. As your writing skills improve, you begin to substitute words like hot with words like blistering, oppressive, and sweltering. Someone in first grade would not know what you mean if you wrote, "The temperature was sweltering." However, someone in fourth grade would. So let's see how it works. This is a story that was written by one of my students last year. It was their first draft. The story reads, Blinker and Clutch. Blinker and Clutch were living in Amperville. They found a Mustang to live in. Life was really going great. Blinker wanted to marry Clutch. He asked her at the Cafe Independent. Everyone was happy when Clutch said yes. They had a nice wedding and lived happily ever after. Now we are going to check the readability of the story. I am going to change the spelling of wedding so that it is misspelled. I'm going to remove a D. So after you write your story, click on the ABC icon on your menu bar that checks the spelling and grammar. My cursor is now pointing at the icon. If there are any mistakes, you will need to make any necessary corrections. As you see, it is telling me that wedding is spelled wrong, and I'm going to fix that. After the spell check is done, it will display a box like the one on my screen. The first section is called Counts. This shows the actual total number of words in the story and how many paragraphs and sentences you wrote. The second section shows Averages. It includes the average number of words in each sentence and the average length of the words that you wrote, which is called characters per word. The last section is called Readability. It shows the percentage of sentences that are passive sentences. We will cover this later this year. The reading ease is how easy it is to read your story, and the grade level. What grade level I would need to be in to understand what you wrote is reflected here. As you can see, someone in fourth grade will be able to understand the words in my story. Now what I'm going to do is show you the final story that was written. The final story reads, After Poppy left, Blinker and Clutch decided to move in together. They were living in Amperville in a Mustang that they discovered abandoned by the train station. Life was really going great. However, something was missing for Blinker. Even though he was living with Clutch, he wanted something more meaningful. One bright summer day, Blinker finally realized what was missing in his life. A family. That is when he decided to marry Clutch. Blinker wanted the proposal to be something extraordinary. How could he make the day one that Clutch would never forget? Then he got a fantastic idea. He decided to propose at Cafe Independent. This place really started their life together. Why not make it be the place that takes them on the next step of their journey? Blinker had to get everyone involved in the surprise. He called a secret meeting and everyone was excited to be a part of the surprise. The next night, he and Clutch were at Cafe Independent. Clutch and the band were just finishing their first set. Blinker ran on stage and grabbed the microphone from Clutch. The entire room stopped. Blinker got down on one knee and asked Clutch to marry him. Everyone cheered when Clutch said yes. They had a beautiful wedding and lived happily ever after. Now what I'm going to do is check the readability of the final story. I'm going to click on the spelling icon again, and it comes up with the readability statistics box. Notice in the count section how my number of words, paragraphs, and sentences increased. In the average section, my sentences per paragraph went down because in the first story there was only one paragraph. Now I have 8. Also, the words per sentence and the characters per word increased. And in the last section, you now have to be in the middle of 5th grade in order to be able to understand the story, instead of at the beginning of 4th grade. What you will begin to do is check the readability of your stories when you are done with your first draft. After you check your score, go back and fix your story by adding adjectives and adverbs to make your story more interesting to read and increasing the readability.